In this episode of the 2 for 5 podcast, Drew and Christian discuss why building a community is important for brands. Enjoy the episode.
Episode 1, season 1, pilot episode of our 2 for 5 podcast.
2 for 5.
2 for 5. Today we're building communities for brands, essentially, and why it's important for them.
Very important.
So, I'll go ahead and I'll talk about my beard trimmer then.
Yes.
We'll just kick it off. So, all right. So, Hassan Minhaj, comedian, political comedian. So, like, kind of right up my alley. Did one of these like GQ things where he picked his 10 favorite things or 10 things you can't live without. And he chose his beard trimmer. And I don't want to necessarily say that he was the reason that I got it. But he definitely had some sort of influence on me because I went and got it immediately. Because not only does it give you a good beard trim, it also catches your hair right here, and your guard also changes. So you don't have to buy a bunch of different guards. It just rotates like that. Like so. So yeah, that's one way for, I think, that brands would be able to market to, I guess, consumers just through other people rather than just trying to run ads on social media or just try to run ads on their own page and just trying to reach out to influencers that have a big following, and most of their following are customers of theirs, and they've got to be able to find like-minded people that are able to, who have influence and are able to, obviously influence another crowd to get their stuff purchased.
Yeah. It's kind of like ads are interruptive, and I don't know anybody who just sits and watches ads. I mean, if you have a chance on YouTube or like you can scroll on Instagram, like you're going to skip the ad. And to me, I hate, like, if I see, let's say Dell sends me an ad, I'm going to be mad that Dell, once I see that ad, I'm going to be mad. I'm thinking that negative thoughts towards Dell. But
right.
With like the Hassan thing, or especially for like our generation, who we've kind of grown up with like the influencer crowd, like the digital influencers, like Vine, right, TikTok, Instagram, YouTubers. And now like celebrities like The Rock are getting into the more of the influencers style. But we kind of grew up with that. And then the coming up generation, like the younger Gen Z, who's going to have a lot of buying power here in the future, that's who they know. Like that's who they follow. They don't follow, I mean, they know the movie stars, they know, big brands, they know some of the, traditional influencers, celebrities, but they follow the Dixie D'Amelios, the Charlies,
right,
Hassans, Alec or Andrew Schultz, is just internet influencers. So, and they associate with them. And if they hear, let's say, Dixie D'Amelio talk about using the naked makeup palette, they're going to be like, I want to look like Dixie. I want to be like her because she associates with naked.
Right.
Now, whether or not Dixie uses the palette, most influencers, they usually use it or associate with the brand, but they're going to associate the naked brand with Dixie D'Amelio. And that's going to be I guess organically placed in Dixie's videos or Dixie's TikToks. It's not going to be an ad, but they do have to specify it's an ad, but it's not going to be an ad.
Right.
You're not being interrupted. Like you're there, the viewer is there to watch Dixie, and then 15 seconds into a video, she plugs naked.
Agree. Yeah, I think that's a good point for you bringing up the ad, because you can watch YouTube all day, every day, and I think the most common ad that I get is, hey, from these 5 different products, which one have you seen an ad for recently? And I hate that, where if I'm watching somebody that I like a country music singer, Hassan Minhaj, Matthew McConaughey, like people like that, then, and I see that they're using something, it's going to make me want to get that more, just because if they've got their name on it, typically they're using it and they like it. So I definitely think that that's the way advertising and marketing is moving. I thought that was a good example with Dixie D'Amelio, because I mean, they're probably the most popular people in the world right now, and the Gen Zers are starting to get more buying power. And
Mhm.
I mean, if you're a TikToker,
Mhm.
you've got a range of influence over just an individual, not individual, but just a group of people that, I mean, they're starting to make money. They're starting to get jobs. I mean, most of them are, finishing high school, finishing college, and they're starting to make
Mhm.
adult money, and they're able to spend it on what they want rather than having to ask their parents.
Mhm.
I think brands are starting to recognize that. They're trying to find the right people to partner
Yeah.
with.
And I saw this yesterday. So I like gaming. Do you know who Valkyrie is?
Mm-mm.
She's so do you know 100 Thieves?
Yes.
So she is co-owner of that with Nade Shot. But
Okay.
so Valkyrie was streaming on YouTube and huge following. Like everybody loves her. She's no political drama, just a great
Mhm.
follow. And then in her, like, so if you can see on YouTube, it says like the title of the video. So that's usually what she's streaming, playing. So she was playing Minecraft. Then it said like Minecraft streams, and it had an X with Burberry. So
Hmm.
her stream, or I know they did a collab, but she herself is doing a collab with Burberry, and Burberry is doing a collab with Minecraft. So now these brands are getting into gaming, which I think is a whole nother topic we could talk about. But
Right.
like gaming is just such a huge industry, and like brands are getting into these gaming realms, where especially with like the new metaverse stuff, and but like you having attaching Valkyrie's name to Burberry, I would say 15 to 25-year-olds probably don't know about Burberry that much, or like that is a luxury brand, or think about shopping it, but they're planting that seed. And
Right.
I'm sure they're going to drop a line that's going to be more suited for a younger generation, a Burberry collection. But
And
they're just building that relationship. I think that's the key to all of
Mhm.
this, is like building the relationship. And
Right.
whether it be brand to consumer, brand to like the influencer, it's like it's got to be you got to be able to see it's like a real relationship. It can't be the
Yeah.
ad where it's like buy now, and you know.
And I feel like they're subconsciously planting that seed into somebody's head. Like you could be a 16-year-old watching this streamer and it's sponsored by Burberry and they've never heard of it. But if they go to like a mall and, obviously a bigger city like Atlanta or Vegas or LA or whatever, and they walk by a Burberry store, that might pique their interest a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just based off of they know that Burberry was collaborating with this streamer.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think I don't know if you can really do anything better than having like one person that has a big following and the following that they have is interested in your products and you can collab with them. I think it's insane. You can even break into that market by not
Mhm.
having people that are interested in it. And like, I mean, you don't know what you don't know essentially. So
Yeah.
like if you've never heard of Burberry, but then they sponsor it, that,
You're
obviously.
gonna look it up.
Right.
And especially if it's a paid like sponsorship, they have to disclose it obviously, but Burberry is giving them guidelines to say like this is our collection and this is what it is. Like they have to have a 30-second spot in their video or their stream where they plug Burberry. So
Right.
they're going to get that no matter what. Like, yeah, you can skip over it, but that's just like another step you have to do as
Right.
a consumer. But another thing where it's like staying on gaming, I guess. But like back whenever I was watching Ninja, who's a streamer, you just see Red Bull in the back of his, like it was in his fridge, but it would be perfectly placed and it would be Red Bull. He wouldn't talk about Red Bull. I mean, he would drink it here and there, but you just see that case in like the product placement. You associate Red Bull with Ninja, and what do you think about Ninja? Like, oh, cool gaming, like being a cool dude, like doing amazing things, and that's what Red Bull stands for, is like doing incredible things. So
Right.
I think that goes back to your point earlier. It's like having the brand choose the right person or the right organization to represent them in their market. I think it's all about knowing your audience too. It's like Red Bull's probably not going to go to Kim Kardashian to market their product,
Right.
like even though she has a huge following, but they'll go to, Kai Lenny, who's a surfer and a huge surfer with a decent following,
Mhm.
couple million, but that's the target audience they're going for.
Right. And I think we talked about this off camera, but I think it's like the 7 or 8 points, like where someone needs to make a decision.
Yeah, 8 brand touch points is usually the marketing key.
Yeah, and we kind of this be our first disagreement where with the beer, going back to the beer trimmer, I didn't need to see anything else other than what I saw. It was mainly he held it up, showed all the features, and I was like, I've got to have this right now. Again, it wasn't necessarily him, but it was somebody who I was interested in, who he always jokes about how hairy he is, and I grow a beard at an alarming rate. And I have beard hair everywhere. My wife complains about it. He mentioned all those touch points, and I immediately was like, I've got to go to Best Buy and get this. So I think I would say generally you need to be like pushing your products. I mean, almost quantity over quality is kind of what you're looking for, which is crazy to say, but if you're trying to get as much touches to somebody as you can, then you've got to do what you got to do. And
exactly. And it kind of to your point, because I was thinking about this yesterday after our conversation, because I was arranging my bookshelf, but I was thinking about it because I was like, have I brought any products that I never heard about before or didn't know the person who had done it, but I heard it because like I'm a huge podcast listener, just a variety of podcasts. And there's one podcast, it's called I forgot what it's called, the CEO or something CEO. And this guy wrote a book. The guest was Rory Sutherland. He's a marketing guy. And I really liked what he was talking about. And then he plugged his book a couple times, not like plugging, but just talking about it. And I was like, this is the first time I ever heard it. I went to Amazon, looked at some reviews, and I was like, oh, it's good reviews. I'm going to buy it. So that's like your point. It's like, that's one brand touch point.
Right.
And like Rory's Sutherland's like, that's the brand.
Right.
But I trust the podcast. Like I've listened to podcasts for years, and I trust what the guy says. Like bringing Rory on is not just out of fluke. He obviously likes the guy. He trusts the guy. So if he trusts him, then I trust him.
And so essentially he's built up a reputation with you to where you trust what he has to say. And every celebrity or influencer or whatever, they've got some sort of following and they have influence over the decision making of certain people. But when you're trying to get a new audience to get to you, I think just going quality or quantity over quality is kind of what hits home. And I listen to a podcast also.
Really? You like podcasts?
Not to be outdone. I also am a podcast listener.
How many podcasts do you listen to, Drew?
I gotta get my numbers up. But
listeners better be listening to the 2 for 5 podcast.
Good plug. Yeah. I don't know if you know he was Mike Stud. He's a rapper. He doesn't qualify or call himself a rapper, but he's a musician and he's an independent artist, and he obviously appeals to athletes. He's a former athlete, but he made a good point in one of his podcasts. He's like, for me, I don't have this big marketing firm that's like pushing my products for me. I have my team, which is like my buddies from high school and college, but he makes music in his bedroom wherever he's at. He kind of a nomad. He travels all over the country, and he essentially was like, I can make 3 songs a day and 2 of them can flop, but if one of them gets 10 million views, he's like, we're rolling. He's like, it's kind of like an investment where I'm putting this effort into it to see this kind of payoff. He's like, obviously I've got my following on social media, I might run an ad or 2 or whatever, but it's like, for the most part, people who like my music and enjoy my music are sharing it to their stories, and that piques other people's interests, and especially if they like it. And I thought that was a good point, especially for someone who's an artist who's not on this huge label. And
that's for small businesses too, because I mean, he's technically a small business,
right?
Most small businesses won't have a big marketing agency or even a marketing agency themselves. They'll have themselves and social, which really it's not all you need, but to get started and to grow your audience initially, that's all you really need. You just need to put content out there and see what works, see what your audience reacts to. And short form video obviously is the best, but if you're a brick and mortar store, TikTok might not be the place for you, but Instagram Reels might be, depending on reach. But like algorithms change all the time, but it's all about your goal really at the end of it. It's like, what are you trying to do? Or what are you trying to get your customer to do? Where are you trying to get them to go? Do you want them to come to your store? Do you want to go to your website? Do you want likes on social? Do you want shares? Do you want more awareness? Really, you have to sit down and like, what do I want my customer to do?
Right.
What value can I add to the customer too?
Right.
Yeah. But to counteract or whatever the word is, I don't know if counteract is the word, but to counter your point, because I just thought about this too, because we were talking about off camera yesterday, cuts. So Cuts is like a not leggings, joggers clothing brand. It's kind of one of those like e-commerce, but there's no physical store. So I didn't personally think it was like a real thing, or didn't put value, because all I saw was ads, whether it be sponsored ads or whether it be like pre-roll ads on YouTube. I was like, okay, this is annoying. I don't want to see cuts. I don't put value on it. I don't think they're like a trustworthy traditional brand that I can buy from for joggers, because I mean they're $85.
Right.
I think they were 85. But anyways, so I've seen their joggers ads at least 15, 20 times before this point. And then I went to get a haircut. My barber had them on. Or I asked my barber, I was like, what I like your joggers. Like, where'd you get them from? He's like, oh, they're Cuts. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, they're the most comfortable thing ever. And I was like, I associate my barber of being cool. He's a stylish dude. And he's just a dope dude. And I was like, okay, we'll give him a shot. And then dogs barking. and then I was like, okay, let's get them. And now they are very comfortable. The fit is great. Like it's like perfect for me, who's 6'4". And I'm like, why have I not bought these before? But that's the point where it's like, if you just, I don't want to say cram ads, but if you just run ads constantly, get those touch points, because they'll be top of mind. It doesn't mean I'm going to go to down the funnel to where I'm interested, but I skipped the interest phase and went straight to the consideration phase once my barber told me about it. But it's like, I knew they were top of mind. I knew about cuts. I just needed that next step of like trust built to purchase the product. Now I'm an advocate. If somebody asks me what joggers they should buy, I'm like, hey, Cuts are a great fit and they're comfortable.
Right. I'm kind of in the market for joggers, and it like makes me scroll down their website at least. So they're at least getting a website hit off of it by you telling me. And then they got a new customer off of you because of a previous customer, and I'm sure he probably saw them from somebody. And but I've definitely seen the Cuts ads an outrageous amount of times on my Instagram. I think a big part also of building kind of a relationship with a consumer would be communicating with past customers to see what they liked and what they didn't like. Or and we kind of mentioned Tennessee off camera, what they're doing with their branding right now. But I think the Vol Shop is like second to none with the communication between consumer and producer, because you can literally send them a picture and be like, hey, do y'all have this t-shirt, or can you make this t-shirt? And they're like, we'll cook something up for you. And like a week later, it's on the website. I think that's outrageous that like they can just do that. Nobody else really does that.
Yeah, just like listening to the customer.
Yeah, like I mean, Hendon Hooker could potentially win the Heisman, and they're throwing t-shirts up there left and right. Jalen Hyatt keeps catching touchdowns, and I mean, they like both of them today. NIL deals are insane. I think Hooker signed with like Mercedes-Benz of Knoxville and a mustard company, which is hilarious. and I think Hyatt got like a realtor to partner with him on an NIL deal. So
that is crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if they understand like the kind of brands that they can build within their community, because I mean, we talked kind of about Stetson Bennett also and how he may not have the best NFL career, but won a national championship at Georgia. He can probably, if he wants to be a realtor, an attorney, talk show host, something, he'll be fine, because he's got name recognition and he's gonna be able to influence people to come to his businesses just based off of what he's done. I
don't know why I'm thinking about gaming, but there's just like I would love to be a YouTuber, but I was thinking of it from a business perspective. It's like, okay, YouTube would be my core. Then I'd like build my YouTube audience. Like I think the biggest things for brands, for people as brands, for influencers, is to have an audience. And it kind of, we'll get to newsletters and stuff like that maybe today, but it kind of goes back to newsletters. Like social, if it's your viewers on YouTube, you don't own the viewer, but you need to have an audience. So for my perspective, it's like, once I build an audience who's engaged with every video, maybe I start dipping in. This is also important about like staying on one platform until you get your audience built. So say I stay on YouTube, get that audience build up, and then it's like, okay, I like gaming, so maybe I'll go stream, like try gaming out. I'll go dip my toes in, maybe stream once a week or twice a week. That audience is good, like not all of them, but a partial amount of that audience is going to go watch me stream. So they're going to be interested in my streaming. I'm going to attract new audience to my stream by posting on TikTok of clips of that. So I'm going to bring in a new audience. I already have that built audience there. So it's just compounding.
Right.
So for like a Hendon Hooker, or not Hendon Hooker, Bennett, let's say Bennett because Hendon Hooker's good. Bennett, so Bennett, like, you know, he might not have a great NFL career, or he might not go to the NFL, but he builds up that credibility. Maybe he's like starts, you know, like you said, like goes to be a broadcaster, or like to a gaming point. Like, I don't know why I'm talking about games so much, but if he just started 2 years ago streaming, because you can make money, streaming Fortnite or Call of Duty, 2 hours a night, and then all these sports fans, like most sports fans, like gaming, especially young dudes, they're gonna go watch them because, like, they're not watching Call of Duty, they're watching Hendon Hooker, or not Hendon Hooker, Bennett play Call of Duty.
Right.
Then that translates on, and then 100 Thieves, huge brand, they might pick them up, or, you know, there could be a collab, an NIL deal between, you know, FIFA and then Bennett, or just like.
And I think that's a good point, because I mean, I'm not gonna watch Stetson Bennett play Fortnite because I want to see if he's good at Fortnite. I'm probably listening to Stetson Bennett tell stories about him playing at Georgia in the national championship while he's playing Fortnite. And I think, obviously, him being good at something else is what draws attention to the other things that he does. But I don't know. I kind of lost my thought there. But I like the crossover of interest, I think, is important. Like, you like gaming, you like sports, or if I like sports more than gaming, I'm gonna go watch that stream. He's gonna get more viewers off of it, just because I like. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a Stetson Bennett fan by any means, but I'm just saying if I was, I'd probably go watch just to hear like the stories that he would tell about Kirby Smart, like how he had to leave and then came back to Georgia. Like, it's a good story. And I would want to hear more about that rather than just watch him play, you know, a video game. But if that's where he's telling it and I want to hear it, then he's going to get more streamed on his stuff, which the algorithm's going to keep pushing his stuff out the more streams he gets.
So for a small business, or just a local business, regional business, or just a mom and pop shop, how does this apply? So I off the top of my head, I think athletes are easy, especially with NIL stuff, because I mean, you know, you're a huge Tennessee fan,
right?
But like, even not even like the main athlete, like just an athlete on the football team right now has recognition for Tennessee, for name recognition. Doesn't matter if you just have UT football player. He could partner with like Susie and Q's ice cream shop, but people posted on his Instagram a couple times. People are going to associate Susie and Q's ice cream shop with, you know, some random dude on the Tennessee football team. They're going to make those associations. Now you have so many fans coming to either be associated with the ice cream shop because, you know, Mr. Player is associated. It's all about associations.
I have a good example for you.
Yeah, give me the example. Come on. Hit me with some knowledge, Drew.
Pals
and
John Fulkerson.
I mean, Fulkerson, a little folky, and a cheddar round. It's so good.
Mix. It's a good mix.
Yeah, no, it is, because I mean, he's a Kingsport dude.
Exactly.
For those who don't know, like, if you're listening, Pals is from Kingsport. Pals is a Kingsport original.
But it's not that he just plays for Tennessee. It's that he's from the town, I think. I mean, obviously, Kingsport is going to be at least 80% Tennessee fans.
Yeah.
But if he went to like Virginia Tech and did well, he probably would have done the same thing. I think.
Pals.
Yeah. It maybe not would have been as good just because Tennessee is on a bigger national stage, but
it's still not Pals.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still, he has influence over that community. Just because he's from there and he's had some success, like Jason Witten and Elizabeth. And I'm sure he runs football camps out of there, but he obviously is not doing NIL deals anymore. He's, you know, obviously retired, but I thought that was a good example of like more of a local business partnering with someone. And, you know, you really just need to find someone that has name recognition within your town. Kind of going back, it could be any Tennessee football player, like, especially in Knoxville, it doesn't have to be the best player on the team. It could really, you know, be your 10th best player on the team. But if they went to like a certain high school or they're from a certain town, they've got influence over that place because they play on currently the best
Mhm.
football team in the country. So,
And I don't know the legal ramifications of this, and I'm not going to. I don't know about it, and I don't know the process. But like, I think of like, because athletes are easy, but like for a small town like Kingsport, just get an influential person. Like they don't have to be an influencer. They don't have to be an Instagram influencer with 14 to 20K, but get somebody who's influential in the community. You wouldn't even have to. I wouldn't think you'd have to pay them. So think about with our business or your business at Kingsport Nutrition, like Jeff, hugely influential in the Kingsport community. And
right.
A lot of our businesses come from him posting on his social, and he is an influencer.
Right.
Didn't pay him a dime.
Call himself he doesn't call himself an influencer, but it also helps that he likes the product too, and he actually like means what he says. So I mean,
that's key too. Is like John, like I don't think Pals, from the business standpoint, I don't think Pals is going to go out and partner with anybody just to partner with people to get their name out. They're partnering with people who believe in the product, who embody the product, and for the influencer part, like you have to, depending on the brand you work with, you got to keep a clean record. You got to be, you are effectively a spokesperson for the brand.
Right.
You got to maintain that great public image, and that's on both sides. But yeah, they're not going to like they'll drop your partnership if you do something stupid in public, or if you act up and in a way that doesn't represent the brand, because that's I'm trying to think what's an example of like somebody. I mean, I'm not going to go there yet, but like somebody like a moderate example of I'll go there, like the new Kanye thing. It's like, it's just he's not what the brand Adidas represents, so they drop him. Like that's how it works. I mean,
if you're the spokesman, you've got to uphold the values of the company that you're representing. Like, I think when you were trying to figure like an example out, the one that comes to mind, I think State Farm dropped Aaron Rodgers. He used to do like the discount double check stuff, and he just didn't want to get the vaccine. And to each their own. But I think I mean, that kind of sucks that he got dropped for that. But if the company believes in something else and the spokesperson is not representing those beliefs, then why would they keep them,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you have a brand image and you want to cultivate your brand image for whatever good, bad, whatever reason. And I think too, your audience expects your brand to behave a certain way. So whenever they're following, because maybe not everybody in your audience likes the spokesperson. They're just waiting for that one moment to turn on the spokesperson and be like, well, you partner with this person, so now we don't support that person. And so there's got to be a lot of thought into it, because a brand tennis, or what's a Calhoun's go out and partner with every Tennessee athlete and give them, like, say, oh, we're partnering with every athlete, and
that's kind of like Barstool kind of ran that thing, like where like there's random people on Twitter. I see it. I'm a Barstool athlete. Like I've never heard of you.
Barstool can do it because they have that reputation of being edgy and not really caring what people think about them, and I think that works for them. And I think partnering with people from like JMU, it's like that's cool. Like that just shows like another side of the company. It's like they don't have to partner with big names, and that goes back to like just get content out there, because the more athletes you get on there, I mean, those athletes are probably getting a hoodie and then like, hey, we post some stuff on social and we'll send you some gear.
Right. It's like
what does that cost them?
It's like making an investment. Like you're trying to get a return on your investment somehow, and if you send hoodies and whatnot, or t-shirts and hats to 1,000 athletes, and one of them wins the Heisman, like, and they mentioned Barstool, that's a huge deal for them.
It's like, how many quarterbacks are in the nation?
I think there's like 100.
D1.
We'll say 130. I think it's 131 total FBS teams.
If you send a Barstool hoodie and ask them to post, I mean, obviously nowadays that they're gonna be like, okay, we need money and like but if right when NIL hit, if they just sent a hoodie and be like, hey, will you wear this, blah blah, you're gonna have a national champion wear your hoodie at some point,
right? And just be like, hey, throw it on your Instagram or something.
Yeah.
And then because if they play for North Dakota State, I mean, they've got influence over whatever city they are in North Dakota.
Mhm.
and somebody's going to buy a hoodie because the
Yeah.
North Dakota State quarterback is wearing a hoodie.
And like back to my point, so North Dakota and North Dakota State are more outdoorsy.
Mhm.
Barstool started with, their sports book, or started with their magazine or whatever newsletter. Now they're in everything, but they have Barstool Outdoors. They have, if somebody from North Dakota who's a hunter, out in the woods somewhere
Yeah.
sees, and then they see like, oh, Johnny from North Dakota State, he just won the national championship or D1AA or whatever. And it's like, oh, he's got a Barstool Outdoor. That's camo. I like that. What's that? And it's like he looks into Barstool Outdoors and like, oh, they do actual cool outdoor stuff.
Right.
And the outdoors people know what they're talking about. It's like, okay, now I'm part of that. Then they get into that. Now they're like, oh, I golf a little bit. I'm gonna watch foreplay. Now they're buying foreplay stuff. And now we're in Taylormade because we see the foreplay guys talk about Taylormade. And we talked about this for a while yesterday. So you can talk about it because you know a little bit more about it than I do.
My thing with Taylormade is I wear this hat every day. I order like 4 at a time because it's white, and if I sweat in it, it just gets nasty. But I love having just a clean white hat, and I've not found one that has fit more perfect than this one since I've been growing my hair out. And the reason that I like Taylormade to begin with is because in 2020, when COVID hit, and that was the only thing that you could do was play golf with your friends, essentially. Dustin
work.
Johnson, or work. The only thing you
shout out Betsy.
Yeah, shout out Betsy. No free shout outs. So you could do 2 things. You could work and you could play golf, or you could watch golf, because that was really the only thing on TV. Well, Dustin Johnson was tearing up the PGA Tour. He was winning the Masters. He was winning. I think he won in TPC Boston. Like, he was just killing it. And so I think I had like a Taylormade driver originally, and I actually don't use it anymore. But when I went and got fitted for clubs, I was like, I want to hit Taylormade, just period. Like, I don't care if I hit Ping better or Callaway better or Mizuno better. Like, the golfer that I'm following right now is hitting Taylormades and he's killing it. I want to hit Taylormades. And I told the guy that fitted me for my clubs, he was like, if you don't like him, you don't like him, because he was trying to get me to buy Ping. I was like, I don't like him. I want Taylormade.
Yeah.
So I got dialed in with Taylormade, and now I wear this hat every day. I mean, I've got a Taylormade driver, putter, irons. I play TPX 5s. Like, I'm bought in just because DJ.
Yes, and it's like, and if I strip it back, like for me, like we're never going to be on tour. We might win a tournament in our life, of like a local tournament, or we might play in a single tournament, or we're going to play in 4-man scramble.
Right.
So it's more about what the gear says to our friends. It's like whenever I see, like I'm rocking up to the tee box, the first tee, and I see you have all Taylormade. I'm like, okay, he gets it. Like, he gets it. That's the thing. Like, that's how it is, because it's what the clubs are, and then with the brand you're repping says about you, like what you want your friends to think. I mean, that's why I bought the new head cover with Kobe's number on it. It's like, not that, I mean, I love Kobe, but like, and I like the purple, and I like being different, but I want it to say something about me to my friends.
Right.
Like, oh, I did the extra step to get a new head cover for my driver, and to cover up the Callaway stuff. Because I know what Callaway has some cool players, but like, that's, the clubs are not like, to the guy who's trying to sell you the new clubs. I'm sure he was sponsored, like he's a dealer. So it goes to kind of ties in with the ads. It's like, you hate being forced to be interrupted about what you want to do. Right. You're there to get Taylormade, but he's like, oh, buy Ping.
Yeah.
But what kind of community, to our topic today, is like, what kind of community does Ping have? Like, probably not much.
Definitely not comparable to Taylormade. I mean, they're doing it with their videos right now.
And it's like, what kind of community does Callaway have? Like, they have I think they're growing their social, like they're Kevin Kisner and Xander Schauffele and all them are doing cool stuff, like with their social, and John Rahm's looking cool. But the community is not the athletes. It's not like the influencers. It's the people who play it. That's where they're going to get most of their influence. Yeah. Because they're going to see, they're going to see new people who are hip, like Eric Anders Lang is a YouTuber. We talked about it, but Random Golf Club. He's labeled the coolest guy in golf. He dresses very casual. He plays casually. He's good, but not like, he's good because he plays so much on YouTube. But he's just cool. and like just you want to be like him. But you know what? Taylormade partnered
Right.
because they see that because he's cool. It's not like I like as much as like I want to be like Rory, I will never be able to hit the ball
No.
like Rory, and I'll never be in a position to, win an Open championship and then choke.
But I think the biggest key, yikes. Just go ahead and add him in.
I know.
I think the biggest thing for TaylorMade is they've got their golden egg is they got Tiger.
Yeah.
Like
he transcends golf.
Exactly. And like obviously that helps them, but I think they do a good job of realizing the amount of talent that they have who actually hit their clubs. Like, I mean, Tiger, obviously, Rory, DJ, Scotty. Yeah. I mean, geez.
And they didn't sign him until he was good.
Right.
Like, he's obviously he's good, but like they didn't sign him until he won Masters, right?
I couldn't tell you, but he hits them now.
He wasn't in any content until after this season. This past,
really?
Like it was middle season. Like he was, because I knew they announced it, but he wasn't in any content. I was like, okay, well, because like some of the like John Rahm was still in some content,
right?
And I was like, oh, okay, it's a Callaway guy now. But then you start seeing Scotty in it and doing some of the challenges and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Now, it just amazes me to see the contrast between like people who play Callaways and like that community, and then the community of TaylorMade.
They're selling it as like a lifestyle. I feel like,
yeah,
like it's more of a like fun energy. Like they're trying to do different challenges. Like they did a like a Masked Singer version of a driving range the other day.
I mean, look at the hat. Look at their product that they're doing.
Yeah,
like that's not even a golf hat, is it?
Trucker hat.
It's just a lifestyle hat.
Lifestyle hat.
Yeah,
but like back to what you said about like if we're going to play golf together, let's say we've never played together, and we both show up, and you've done this before. You were like, "Hey, let me hit your club." I'll let you because you're like, I want to see what the TaylorMates feel like, and then you could just be sitting somewhere and being like, "Oh yeah, I play golf." And they're like, "Oh, what kind of clubs do you have?" And you're like, "I've got like the 2019 P790s," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
You're like, then they're like, okay, like he probably knows what he's talking about, or like Mavericks, or it doesn't have to be TaylorMade by any means, but like,
but I think it does. I think it really does say something about you, because they're no better. I mean, from like an amateur who's the people who are spending the money. Like, don't get this wrong. Like, even on Corn Ferry, they're getting the tours, like they're getting the clubs for free. Like the people who are good are getting the clubs for free, and TaylorMade's target audience, people that they're consumers, are not the good player,
right?
They're good. Like, you want to be good. Like, it's an improvement club. Like, they have different lines, but it's like it does not matter if I play TaylorMade paying, Mizuno, like for an iron. My swing's still the same. It still stinks. like I'm still going to shank a ball, but just having the TaylorMade club, I'm not going to get into the performance aspect of it, but having a TaylorMade club actually does feel better in my hands from a mental standpoint.
Right.
But to the point, it's like I'm buying the club to sit in my bag and then twirl it on the tee box, and then have the driver sit up there with the blue line on the stem max. I'll be like, oh, and have that distinct sound of their woods. Like,
right.
I want people to know that I play that. So when I go in the clubhouse later, they just associate me with being cool.
Right.
That's all it is. Because because we're not gonna shoot, like, we'll go out there like, oh, I'm shooting 72. Like, no, I'm gonna shoot 84 and then complain about it and talk about how I want to get new clubs. But it's gonna be a TaylorMade. It's gonna be like, oh, I need the new, I need a new stealth driver because it's gonna help my spin. Like, no.
Yeah, something that doesn't matter at all, but they make you think it matters because you're watching them play these clubs on TV. You're like, I want to do that, but it's also the brand that they've continued to build. I mean, they didn't have Tiger originally. He's obviously a big Nike guy, but I mean, when he was shopping for places to go, he picked TaylorMade for a reason, and he obviously brings a huge following with him.
And he's probably a big reason why players, like athletes, go to play for TaylorMade.
I would say so. Like,
just to be around him.
Koepka doesn't even have a deal, but he hits I think he hits Mizuno irons, but he hits TaylorMade drivers. And so like that's like, I like Koepka too, even though he's not a TaylorMade guy, he hits a TaylorMade driver.
Mhm.
Like, okay, well, if he's not even sponsored by him and he uses it, that means it's probably one of the better drivers
Yeah.
out
And like to integrate this within like our influencer talk. So they have Taylormade's, and we'll throw something on the screen about what I'm about to talk about, but Taylormade's social, especially on their YouTube, is amazing. During their off season, like the Taylormade Media Days, they bring in, not only do they have like challenges with Chris Trotty, like they do some challenges with Taylormade specific stuff and like club testing. They'll do some fun challenges that have nothing really, they have stuff to do with golf, but it's like unrealistic. But they'll do it with Eric Anders Lang, like I talked about. He's an influencer, a social media producer, YouTuber. And they'll do it with good, or not good. They'll do it with foreplay. Huge following of golf, and that's a different audience than Eric Anders Lang. But they're
Right.
still golfers. That's the one common thing. There's different type of people.
right.
They'll do a thing. They'll do a video. So it's just building these connections, but like just partnering with these influencers. That's just especially who have different types of followings. It's just growing growing their network, because TaylorMade, their goal isn't to sell to every golfer in the world, really. And they obviously they'd like to, but they're trying to sell to the right people to influence. It's kind of like we were talking about yesterday as well. It's like we have a mutual friend who is a very influential person. And you know, talking about,
Yeah.
okay, a very influential person, and he's not an influencer by any means, but just a very highly influential person. And he was a TaylorMade guy now, but he explained it to me kind of. I wish I brought this up earlier, but he was explaining it to me how we kind of explained it. He's like, I'm good. He's very good at golf too, but it's just annoying. But he played a variety of clubs, anyways. Then he started getting into like the YouTube golf scene started popping off, and like he started seeing more people play these clubs, and slowly I saw in his bag, it's like, oh, he got, he had a Scotty Kenner putter, and then he had a Spider putter. It's like, I think Scotty's better
Same.
performance wise, but like he had the Spider putter. Then he had the stealth driver. I was like, okay. Then he had the P770s irons. I'm like,
Ooh.
I'm just, yeah. He's that guy.
Ooh.
He's that guy. He's that guy. And if you just have to know this person to know what we're talking about, but he's like, cool, confident. Everybody looks up to him, and he's influential. So then, not that I have bought any. I bought a dang TaylorMade 2-iron, but I just knew that it was good.
Right.
But obviously, I don't have the capital expenditure to go out and purchase some new TaylorMade. But if I'm in the market, I know what I'm buying.
Right.
It's going to be TaylorMade.
Yeah. And I mean, the quality of the product too.
Mhm.
I mean, just based off of, you can use other people's clubs. You have one club that you've used, and
Mhm.
obviously if you like it, you're interested in
Yeah.
buying more clubs. So it's like a slippery slope of influence.
It's like I have two people who I know and trust about golf, and I know who are cool. It's like you and the other person that we're talking about. It's like, I know, like now that I know that they play them, I want to be like them or associate myself with what they do.
Right.
Because it's just cool.
Like, yeah, like, but if you're showing up, like, let's say I show up to the golf course and I got my P790s and I am shaking them left and right, that's probably not a good thing for you. Like,
even for me, it's like, I mean, it'd have to be, I don't know, it'd be different. I don't know. I think it'd be more from a golf thing. I think it'd be a driver, because like drivers where it's like you can see the big difference. Like irons are just hard to hit in general, so I'd be like, oh, they still look good.
Right. Yeah, they're at least the ball flight might suck, but the club face is nice.
Yeah. No, that's TaylorMade. I mean, it's just like the community of TaylorMade is just so much stronger. Than their branding's on point, their socials on point. Everything, their athletes are TaylorMade athletes. And they are cool. Like every player is cool.
And they're trying to, like, they're kind of pushing the envelope with, like, J.R. Smith modeled their Kith collab.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Like, I mean, J.R. Smith's an NBA player. He plays golf at NCAA now, but like, a lot of people know who he is because of basketball. But again, kind of going back to like the Stetson Bennett and the streaming and football thing, people are interested in him because of basketball, follow him because of one sport. Well, now he's playing another sport, so he's taking his influence into another realm.
And on TaylorMade's side, like obviously historically, the African American community has been underrepresented and just not taken a like care to golf until Tiger really popped up.
Right.
And then, I mean, that's a whole nother. And then even for me, it's like I grow up seeing these dudes dress completely whack, like just uncool people playing golf. And I'm like, I love playing golf, but like, it's not stylish. Like, there's not cool. There's no personality. It's very stiff. And there's a lot changing to that. But like,
I'm wearing Jordans to golf now.
No, and their golf shoes, like Jordan, Nike is producing this because like they know a new community. So like there's a company called Trap Golf, but there's a whole other community of people, not even based on color, but like J.R. Smith draws them in, like NBA fans who, and then like as golf courses are lowering, some courses are lowering rates. I mean, to like accommodate, because they know that there's a whole other swath of community that they can bring in.
Right.
And now Taylormade knows that because they're getting that audience. Like that's going to be the first audience to see that Taylormade's cool. They're going to look at Ping and be like, oh, it's just a bunch of old, white hair, white dudes.
Yeah, essentially.
Like, I mean, they're like, I don't associate with that, but I see JR's playing that. He's playing this Taylormade stuff. I want to play that because it looks cool. Then they dig deep into it, as like Tiger's playing. Then they look at like, Dustin and all them, and like they're cool dudes.
Yeah,
they're like
exactly. They're enjoyable to listen to watch. They like, obviously Tiger has the biggest crowd, but like people are following DJ and Rory. I mean, Rory's probably second in that, I would say. But
I'm gonna look up what clubs do Jordan play. Michael Jordan.
Oh gosh. You want to take bets? I bet he's a Callaway guy.
You bet a Callaway?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he plays a variety.
You think so?
Variety?
I bet he plays Callaways. He just seems like a Callaway guy.
Yeah. He's variety.
Is it?
Ping.
Ugh.
Ping clubs.
I say and I started with like hand-me-down Ping eyes.
Yeah.
Like both sets of my clubs were Ping eyes growing up.
But that's neither here nor there.
But then I had access to adult money, got to make my own informed decision. Well, informed as in influenced decision. And I chose Taylormade for all of these reasons that previously stated.
I mean, it's just community is big. So how would this apply to a business that's not Taylormade? I mean, I think we kind of talked about it.
Yeah,
build a community.
Yeah, it's just finding. I mean, one thing that I noticed that is actually pretty big now is like text messaging to build like special promotions, offers. Why I thought about this is one was Gary V, and he always sends like a little motivational text. We'll put it on the screen. Yeah. He sends a little motivational text maybe like once a month or something. But what made me think about it was Hardy, the musician. I got on his website the other day, and it wasn't like an email subscription pop up. It was like, hey, here's the phone number to text to join my like exclusive, whatever fan club. And I think that's a good way to be able to communicate, because you can text back to these people if you want to, and they may not reply, but they're getting in your head to make you think that you have access to them somehow.
I sent Gary a message. I'm still on red.
Do what?
I said I sent Gary a message and I'm on red.
Yeah, and then he'll post like replying to everybody for the next 10 minutes. Obviously, he's got 10 million followers on all his stuff or whatever, but like I think that's a good way to do it. And
no, it's like we talked about yesterday, off camera too, is that they own you, and not like that way, but like they own your contact. So they're not like on Instagram, Gary's reels, like Instagram owns us as users. Like just because I follow Gary does not mean that I want to see every piece of content. Gary knows that I'm going to get the text message. Already knows I'm going to get the text message. Same thing with email newsletters. It's like Seth Godin knows I'm going to get his blog newsletter, or I'm going to have access to his blog because I get it at the same time every day, because he writes a blog every day for the past 20 years or something like that.
Right.
But I'm gonna get that blog because it's coming directly to my email. I look forward to it every day because this is another point for text messaging and any type of like personalized like messaging systems, like email newsletters, like blogs, and like text messaging, where it's a one-on-one interaction with your user. It has to add value.
Right.
It really had like, it can't be, if Gary sent me a message like, hey, been like, he sends me 5 messages of like, influential stuff, but that one message where it's like, hey, did you know that my what's his collection called?
V friends.
V friends. My V friends are on sale today, blah, blah, head over to this. I'm like, I'm shut off, because that's not what it's meant there for.
Right.
And he knows that, but like, that's the thing with like a newsletter. That's why I unscript. Like, I'm very careful with who I subscribe with for my email newsletter, because like I talked about Tim Ferriss. He sends a quote. He sends like 5 new things he learned today or this week, a couple of gadgets that he's using, and then the book he's reading, and then a recipe he does, or like a workout he does. Very short, condensed stuff, and it's just very good information that's valuable, because I have all the associations about Tim, and I know who he is as a person. I know what kind of like reach he has, and I know he's smart. But
Right.
just having that bulleted list of everything he's doing, and it links to other stuff that going off up there. Can you hear the dog?
I heard like a little screech, but
yeah, that's Murphy. But yeah, no, it's like he's not sponsored by these brands.
right.
He just likes them, and I know that. That's why I'm interested. But like, yeah, like adding the value. Now, if he said, "Hey, I'm running this new sale with Prada," and like, and he uses that in email, I'm gonna be like, oh, like that's not what I don't want to be interrupted. Like that's the ad. I don't want
not what you're there for.
No, but I think to your point, like text messaging and newsletters, especially in this age where algorithms shift all the time, getting people's email and text contact information is for any type of business.
They control that. They don't,
I don't care.
The algorithm.
Yeah.
They control the text messages and emails.
B2B, B2C, food, tech company, small mom and pop or large corporation. If you have a good community, like, so obviously the people who are going to sign up organically to your email list want to hear from you. So that's your best customer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who wants to hear from you. That's your big community. So that's the people you want to build the relationship with, because they're the ones who are going to be going out to tell people about your product.
It's like the new era, like, hey, Ricky down at Home Depot will take care of you.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Ricky, yeah. No, yeah, no, it's like, that's like my grandfather. Like we go to IHOP a couple times and he will only ask for Tiana. He's like, is Tiana here? So it's like the same thing. I don't know how we're related this to my grandfather, but like I don't know. I'm going with that.
It's like the text message.
No. It's like he knows what he wants.
Right.
And he's like,
he knows what kind of service he's getting.
Yeah.
He knows.
And he'll tell, that's what it is. He'll tell people like Tiana is a great waitress.
Right.
When in reality, like they're all, the same.
Right.
For the most part. It's like we could get everyone, but just because he had that one interaction with Tiana, he wants to promote her to everybody.
Right. And he wants to help her because of something that she has provided, and that she gave you guys a good experience, and he wants other people that he knows and cares about to have the same experience if they were going to go to that same restaurant.
Yeah. And that's another thing about, not to go up on a tangent, but I think a lot of small businesses could work on is taking care of their best customers.
Yeah.
And providing them with, in this age of social where you have like the amount of reach you can get off a TikTok video or an Instagram reel or a YouTube short is amazing. Mm-hmm. But say there's a local dude, I'm trying to think of somebody in Kingsport, but say there's a local person, a local celebrity, I guess you'd say, that's not an influencer by any means, but goes to their local chicken place all the time, loves the business, loves the staff loves him. Do a spot on it. Like post him on your social, be like, and here like, we gave him a free meal today. We want to celebrate our best customer, Johnny.
Right.
Post him on your social, and then like, maybe he has social. He reposts that. Then people are going to start seeing it on his repost. Like the family's going to repost. Your employees repost it. So now they're associating you with this influential person. They're associating you with doing something nice to your customer, and your best customer is going to go out and promote your product even more. It's like really take care of your best customer. I don't get why a lot of businesses don't do that. It's like you have the best customers. You have your what do they call them? The early adopters. That's who you need to speak to because they're going to be able to tell your friends, the word of
Right.
mouth. Like they're not going to trust if a new brand pops up today, a new clothing store pops up, men's clothing. I'm not going to take their advice about, oh, it's great jeans. I'm not going to care because I have my way of getting jeans. Like it's a fine way, but all it takes is that one person I trust who is like, oh, I love the family who opened it up, so I'm going to go shop there just for fun. And then he's like, oh, great jeans. I'm like, okay, I'll go try them out.
Yeah.
It's like that early adopter because he had that relationship. It's all about relationships. Like this whole conversation. It's like you had that relationship with the family member. Then he told me about it. And it really is just human nature. That's all it is. Like
it's a slippery slope again. Like same thing with your Cuts joggers. Yep. You were influenced to buy them. You're honestly influencing me to buy them. And like you just have to find a way to utilize that chain of interactions and mentions of your product. And if that's obviously giving, Johnny a free meal at your restaurant, do it. Free drink, free clothing item, get them on your social, talking about how awesome you are. That way people believe that it's actually an organic, like non-scripted testimonial rather than giving somebody, it's like a medicine commercial where this was a paid actor,
Yeah. No, then you have to have, like, just doing it is good, but you have to have something like them to go somewhere. Like you have to have a good website. Like you have to have that customer journey mapped out because you eventually want them to be an evangelist of your brand. Like you can't just be post on social and hope it hits. It's got to have like the process. Like what's the end goal for the customer? But it's just crazy that you can you could throw tactics away, you could throw best practices away, you could throw all social away and just look at human nature. And it's like people trust brands or companies or other people that their friends and their close friends trust.
Right.
Or they trust they trust people or brands based on how much they trust another person.
Yeah.
It's literally it's like just a relationship and community.
Yeah. It's like having a family tree in second grade when you had to like map it all out. But from a business standpoint, it's like your friends, your family, your spouse, your girlfriends, your kid, it's pretty much I bought some Tecovas and I want to buy more Tecovas because number one, they mentioned it in a Morgan Wallen song. And that is kind of where I heard of them first. And then Midland, I think has a sponsorship deal with them. I love Midland, country music fan. And I bought some, and then now my mom is trying to get some for my stepdad, and now my mom wants some. So like
we talked about yesterday, I'm not in the market for country boots, boots and country boots, boots in general. But like, I know, like, because like for me, I know I'm going to get some at one point because I think they're cool, comfortable, and they definitely fit an outfit.
Right.
But I'm not going to go and buy an $800 pair of boots.
Right.
But I do want good boots. I don't want to go to Amazon and buy an $80 pair of boots that are just going to break down.
Exactly.
So, but hearing you say, "Oh, Tecovas is good," because I've seen them on social, I've seen them advertised, and I was like, "Okay, I'm familiar with the brand. They look cool." But in hearing that you have them makes me want to buy them whenever I'm ready to buy them.
Right.
That's the other key. It's like you need to be top of mind, and they need to be in consideration, and they need to decide when they're ready. That's why the 8 brand touch point thing is like, you're not going to sell them. Most of the time, you're not going to sell them the first time, or the second time, or third time. But when they're ready on that 8th time, like you want to be the person that they know and trust.
Yeah.
People research now all the time. Like they don't just like blindly say 99% of doctors recommend this. They're
going to fact check you immediately.
Yeah. Like that's what I do anytime. So like Lord of the Rings, like you can see on my Lord of the Rings, that whole shelf is Lord of the Rings. New show Rings of Power came out. I think it's pretty good. There's definitely things I do differently, but obviously from Amazon's point of view, and anybody they paid to advocate on their behalf, it's like, oh, it's the best show in the world. It's changing lives, and like there's all this, the people who don't like it are just this type of person, and they're mean to the actors, and like they just don't understand the work.
Right.
I know for me, working in this space, I know what that is. Like I know their tactics. I know it's smoke and mirrors. But I go to the influencers who have no association with, like they're not financially in bed with Amazon. They don't have any association with, which the Amazon did bring them out for the premiere. Didn't pay them. They just brought them out
Right.
to talk about it. But his name's Nerd of the Rings, his channel. He makes money on Nerd of the Rings in Patreon. He's financially independent. But I trust him because I've built up this relationship over like 4 years of him talking about Lord of the Rings. And he gave his honest review. And it's honest because that's how he's always done.
Right.
And I trust his opinion more than I would trust. It just blows my mind that brands can't see that. Maybe they do see it and just try to get to people who aren't smart.
And they could. And
Yeah.
I think, like you mentioned this earlier with the streamer and the other brand, like let's say you're a coffee shop or something, and
We're talking about Valkyrie and Burberry
yeah, like
or Ninja.
or find like if you can't find like an individual, find another business that has the demographic that you're looking for to come into your business and partner with them somehow. Set up like a pop-up shop, or just
Great
do
picture.
something. Yeah. Do something to be able to get your name into the spotlight essentially for these people that you want to attract. And I think that's one thing that, like, just go ask somebody. They may say no. I mean, everybody fears rejection or whatever, but at least you're trying to do something to get your business name out there, to make your business successful. Like, I think that's one of the better ways you can do it. Like, say you have a clothing store and someone that has a coffee shop, and you're trying to market to like 25 to 38-year-old women, let's say, and those people go into this coffee shop. That type of person goes into that coffee shop. Like, don't just put I think flyers are fine. I don't know if that's the best way, but like, go hang out for 3 hours or 4 hours and do like a little Q&A thing. I don't know, but like, find a way, and don't make excuses about like, I can't find such and such, because there's always something around you that complements.
Yeah, it's really just hijacking somebody else's audience.
Right.
And it's got to, and the best way is like building a relationship with that brand, like mutually be beneficial. That's what most people are going to be like, are going to be attracted to, is like, what can you offer? What value can provide my business?
Right.
But yeah, that's why you see so many like pieces of artwork in coffee shops. And I'm talking about coffee shops again. It's like, because that's associated with artwork, and it's a great place for people to sell artwork.
Right.
And then it's like, for my example with that, I would even stand on a coffee shop, like have a live painting. If you're an individual, like do a live painting. Maybe like even like do a class, coffee painting. Now your name's there in the realm. And if they see, like, I'm not an art, I love art. I like I love painting and drawing. I couldn't tell you what looks good and what doesn't look good. I don't know what's right and wrong. I can tell you what I like and what I think looks good. But I'll tell you right now, if I go to, rest in peace, Willow Tree Coffee Shop, and I see Jennifer painting a picture, and she's like, hey, you want to watch me paint? This is an open, collaboration between me and Willow Tree. Just watch us paint, ask me questions about painting, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting down there with my coffee, watching her paint, spend like 45 minutes watching her paint. All right, cool, bye. Then I see painting of mountains and another painting of mountains on a wall. And it's like, oh, I'm in the market to buy paintings. So let's talk about like our 8 brand touch points. Now I'm like in the market to buy a painting. And I go and I see this wall. I'm like, okay, they both look cool. I look at the artist. I see Jennifer's name. I'm like, I'm buying that one, because she built that relationship with me.
Right.
And now, like, obviously, by having for Willow Tree at the coffee shop, having Jennifer be there, I associate great things with Jennifer. I associate Jennifer with Willow Tree, and now I'm at Willow Tree. Like, it's just crazy. It's simple. It's so simple. It's community, and it's building relationships. And brands, individuals, influencers, ourselves as customers, I think customers have the biggest influence on the success of a brand.
Agreed. I mean, I can't really build off of that because I feel like we've touched a lot of points, and I felt like this actually went pretty well for how well our meeting yesterday went.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
all right, guys. Drop some likes in the comments. No. That's a streaming thing. But if you liked it, comment what we should talk about next, or some stuff you'd like us to talk about.
We will take some subscribers and likes, though. We're not joking.
Yeah, and ring the bell.
Yes.
For notifications for your next 2 for 5 podcast, which we have probably the podcasts are going to come out on probably Mondays right now. And follow us on social. Follow the Social Bullpen. Anybody else you want to plug?
I don't think so. I think we're good. I mean, Social Bullpen for sure, and then 2 for 5 podcast, obviously.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to the 2 for 5 podcast. For more information about the Social Bullpen, head over to thesocialbullpen.com or follow us on social media. We'll see you in the next episode.